Good afternoon, grade 12s. It's me, Hector S. Nkosi. I'm here again, guys, for accounting. I'll be taking you for stock valuations, but today we are looking at the part 2 of your stock valuations. Remember now that, guys, stock valuations, it's divided into two. So the first part, it's more of your calculations, whether you're using FIFO, weighted average, or specific identification method. Then the part two, or the second component of your stock valuation, it's when you're looking at the interpretation of inventories, where you look at how to manage your inventory and stuff like that. So basically, that's part two of your stock valuations. And remember, guys, you can always email me at nkosihector28@gmail.com. And bear in mind that stock valuation forms part of your paper two. So today we'll be looking at the Gauteng and Northern Cape 2019 prelims, the question 5 and question 3, but only the second part of stock valuation, meaning the management of inventories. Feel free to ask questions on the chat box, or if maybe you know a certain answer, you want to ask something in the chat box, please feel free, guys, to do so. I'm more than welcome to answer any accounting related question. Okay. Okay. Now, I would like us to start with the Northern Cape 2019 prelim, the part two. Then after we are done with that, we're going to look at the Gauteng question 5, the part 2 though. All right. Okay, boys and girls. So this one is the Gauteng one. I just want to show you, I just want us to start with the one for share. Okay, cool. So now here it says to you, Protec Traders, Patrick Ace is the owner of the Protec Traders, who sells safety helmets. He has 3 different stores that are managed by Lucas, Pito, and Pepe. He is concerned that the stores are not running efficiently and gave you the following information to analyze for February 2019. You are required to identify a problem in each store. Code figures. So, code figures, meaning now your answer must include calculations or numbers when they say code figures to support the problem identified in each case and give Patrick Ace advice on how to solve the problem. So basically here, boys and girls, if you look here, you've got sales, you've got store 1, store 2, and store 3. Store 1 is for Lucas, store 2 is for Pizzo, store 3 is for Pepe. They've got sales. Sales for store 1 is 280, for store 2 is 340, for store 3 is 300. The returns from customers for the month, it's 4,000. We can see that store 2 already, they've got so many returns, right? And the return policy, it's 21 days. The other one is 7 days, right? The stock stolen during the month, we can see store 2 also has the stock that is stolen, that was stolen during the month. But it's just a minority basically. But if you look at your if you look at your store 3, you've got 50 units that are stolen basically. Okay, just hang on. I'm trying to highlight. Okay, I want to highlight this 50. Okay. Oopsie. Okay, I think I used the wrong highlighter. Okay, cool. Yeah. Then advertising, store one has majority of advertising basically. Then the number of employees, there are 6, store two, there are 4, and in store three, there are 6 also. Remember, guys, you need to look at what the examiner has asked you. So you are supposed to identify a different problem in each store. So in each store, you must identify a different problem. Meaning now, in store one, if you choose to speak about advertising, in store two, you're not supposed to speak about advertising. You must try and speak about sales, returns, return policy, stock stolen, number of employees, and stuff like that. So you must only identify a different problem in each store, right? So it must be different. You can't speak about policy in store one and also speak about policy in store two and also speak about policy in store three. You must, in store one, you must speak about something different. In store two, you must speak about another thing that is different. In store three, you can also speak about another thing that is different. So guys, they love such questions, and these questions are plus or minus 10 marks. As part of your inventory valuations, we call them problem solving. Basically, this, guys, the more you do questions is the more you're going to be familiar with such questions, you know. So you get these questions as part of your stock valuation questions. So the first part is the one of FIFO method, weighted average method, specific identification method. The second part is this one where you do your problem solving, basically. Right. So now I want us to go to the memo. Trying to look at my memo. No, it's not this one. Okay. Okay, just hang on. Just a minute, guys. I'll be with you now. Okay. Okay, new share. Okay, I think the memo is here. Yeah, I think that's the memo. Share. Okay, cool. Okay. I need to scroll down just a minute. Yeah, I got my memo. So basically, guys, here, what you're supposed to do. So in store one, the problem, and you must give the problem. So you must give the problem and also give the solution, basically, right? Or the advice, right? So basically, it's 3, 6, 9. So it's out of 9, this question. That's why I said it's plus or minus 10 marks. So in store one, they said Lucas spent 30,000 on advertising and his turnover amounted to 280. Advertising is 10% or approximately 11% of sales, right? So basically, can you see that Lucas has incurred more advertising? No wonder I started by highlighting those things that are a major effect. You see, store one, I highlighted advertising. I said the problem is with advertising. Store two, we identify that the returns, they are too much. They are 28,000. Store three, I highlighted about stock stolen. So we need to identify problems in each stores and give advices. So yes, I was right for store one when I highlighted 30,000 that it has to do with advertising. So if you were to go back to your solution here, we can see that the problem is that we spent 30,000 on advertising and the turnover amounted to 280, right? So how can we solve this problem? How can we advise Lucas on advertising? Lucas should review his advertising and promotional strategies in order to increase sales volume, basically, right? Store two, Pito, we have identified we have identified the returns, right? The returns of 28,000, it's too high. Basically, it's 8.24% of sales. Can you see you are also quoting the figures, right? And when they say quote the figures, it doesn't have to be money only. Quoting figures, it can be percentages, it can be number of days, it can be a ratio or whatever, right? As long as there's a form of a figure in your solution, that's how you show to the examiner that you have quoted the figure, basically, right? Then now it says the return policy of 21 days is too long, guys. You can't have the return policy of 21 days, whereas the other competitors, they've got the return of 7 days. So they change supplier for better quality if the product is inferior, or train the workers to provide a better sales service. So change the return policy to 7 days, basically. That's the advice you're going to give to Pizzo. Right. I hope everything it's making sense and I hope you are following. Now let's look at your store three. So your store three now, I'll have to yeah. Store three, we saw that we have identified what? We have identified what? We have identified the number of units that were stolen. Can you see? Store one, they did not steal any units. Store two, okay, they stole 4 units. That's just a minority. But store three, guys, they've stole 50 units. So that's what you need to identify. You can't just say they stole units in store three. You must say they stole 50 units. Can you see you've also quoted a figure? And you also need to comment, to advise on how can you mitigate the how can you mitigate that? You can mitigate that through installing cameras, through your stock count and stuff like that. So control of stock is a problem. 50 units of stock stolen in a month, right? So you must improve control over a stock, minimize theft, but you must be specific, boys and girls. How can you minimize theft? Maybe by installing cameras, right? You can say by installing cameras or footages, right? So basically, that's how you can see it. So this is Gauteng. This is the Gauteng. No, this is actually the, I'll see now. Yeah, this is the Northern Cape paper, basically. Now I want us to look at the inventory management of Gauteng, the part 2 now. So we are done with these ones. Now we're moving to a different question. Okay. So this is the Northern Cape one. The one that we have just did now, it was the Gauteng one. Here it says Funky Garden sells wheelbarrows, garden tool sets, and garden badges. The business is owned by Solisas. Calculate the number of garden tool sets stolen. Give 2 points of advice. Can you see, guys? It's pretty much the same. It's just that they ask these inventory management question in 2 different ways. It's either you can compare different stores, or you can analyze one business and see how many units they've stole and stuff like that. No wonder we call it problem solving. So basically, this is the information that was given. So this is the information that was given, boys and girls. So if you look here, sorry, if you look here, it says wheelbarrow units. So the number of units sold, the opening stock, the closing stock, the purchases. So these are the net purchases because they said less returns. Remember, I said net purchases, it's when you have also subtracted the returns afterwards. Then you also have what? you have your garden tool set, you've got your garden bench. So here you're comparing what? Three different products. The previous question, we were comparing what? Three different stores. So what I'm trying to say, when you're doing your problem solving questions, guys, it's where you can compare units, you can compare industries, you can compare the stores. So this is their cost price per unit, their selling price per unit, their markup. Can you see this one? Their markup is more than 100%, right? And the stock holding period, right? Can you see garden benches? They've got 207 stock holding periods, basically, right? And if you look here, the garden tool, they've sold actually more units compared to the other units, right? And yet, basically, it's cost price. Maybe it's because it's cheap. I mean, even its selling price, it's the cheaper product, the garden tool set. Because if you look at the cost price is 1,560, whereas the cost price for wheelbarrow it's 3.5, for garden bench it's 6.5. Maybe this one has the stock holding period because of it's an expensive product, you know. But let's look at the question, at the answer, basically. Okay. So basically, guys, here you must, this one it's quite different. Here you are supposed to give each product an advice. Here it says Soli is unsure whether he is changing the right price for his product. Give him advice on each product. Quote figures. Don't forget, boys and girls. When they say quote figures, you must quote figures in your answer. So you must have your quoted figures. You can't just say the markup, what is like this. You must state the markup of 120. Don't say markup percentage only. Say 120. There's a figure that is involved there. So the advice here is the markup is appropriate in this case, 120%, as there is a high demand for the wheelbarrows because it serves multi-purpose. So 390 units sold could possibly charge even more. Only 21 days stock on hand, right? So that's what we have identified. And those are the things that I have highlighted in this question. So if we go back to our question, these are the things that I have highlighted, basically, that here under wheelbar, you must look at the markup. Here, look at the number of units sold, and it's because, I mean, which means it's a quicker product. No wonder it goes quick because it's cheap. Here, look at the stock holding period, you know, and maybe we can say it's because, I mean, its selling price, it's quite costly. It's 11,700, you know. No wonder the stock holding period, it's so much. It's 207 days, you know, because this is quite an expensive product, you know. Right. Then now, what you need to look at again is, let's go to our memo. What you need to look at garden tool set, the markup percentage is reasonable, of which is 25%. We know 25% is the quota of what you are selling. Basically, they are selling a large number of units. That's what I said. 910. The customer prepared to pay the price being asked. The price that was asked was 1,950. Keep the price as it is, basically. That's what we can comment on. Sorry. Then now let's look at the garden benches. Oopsie, I don't know why this thing it's moving so fast. Okay. Now, if we look at the garden benches or garden bench, so the markup is possibly too high of 80%. These products are not popular. Only 64 units sold, you know. Stock holding period, yes, it's 207 days, right? So if a markup is reduced, stock may sell quicker, basically. So that's why I spoke about the stock holding period is 207 days, basically, right? So you need to look at this. And can you see, guys, in each and every question or in each and every product, you have sort of like quoted the figures, So this is an exam technique, boys and girls. You must always quote your figures. It's very important to quote your figures because it's going to help you guys a lot to earn marks, because it's 3 marks, 3 marks, 3 marks. I mean, it's 2 2 2 basically for each product. So this one, it was 6 marks. So you actually get a mark for advice, getting a mark for a figure, right? So you must always check at the mark allocation, basically. It's going to help you a lot. Then now, let's look at this one. This one was for 9 marks. It says to you, calculate the number of garden tool sets stolen. So basically, they want the number, not the value. The number of garden tools set stolen, basically here. That's what we are looking at. So, and you must also give 2 points of advice to mitigate, or meaning to reduce this stolen gardening tools. So basically, if we go back here to our category. So your garden tools, we had opening of 125. We we bought 940. We did not sell 140. We sold 895. So in order to see how many it's stolen, you have to take what you had at the beginning, add by what you bought, subtract what you have sold, subtract what you haven't sold yet. If you get zero, if the answer is zero, therefore there is no number of units that is stolen. But if you get a certain number, which means that number is the number of units that is stolen. So basically, you should know by now how to calculate the number of units stolen. So if you look here, boys and girls, basically, 125 was the opening, 940 was the purchases, and 140 was the closing, and 895 was what? Was the what you call your sales. Therefore, which means this is what was stolen, meaning 30 units were stolen, basically, right? Or 30 garden tool sets were stolen, right? So, what advice can you give to the thingy? Can you give to the business? They must do the regular stock count, right? They must count and check against physical stock taking. So basically, they must do stock taking now and then. They must order smaller quantities, but more frequently, guys, so that you can keep track of the stock that is coming in and the stock that is going out. They must improve the physical security, your control at the entrance. There are a lot of things, guys, they can do. They can even put sensors, and they can label all their stocks with the barcodes, So when you leave, it will just beep at the door. So they can install sensors also. They can install cameras. They can even improve. I'm sure, I mean, in most of the stores, security, the physical security is there, but they must improve it through sensors. And also, guys, remember, if you order in bulk, sometimes you can't keep track of your stock. No wonder it's very important as a business. If your what you call your product is the most popular product and is selling frequently, you must try by all means to order smaller quantities, but more frequently. Maybe if you know that they like to buy these things, you can have the delivery from the supplier maybe on a weekly basis, right? And also have the regular stock checks, um, count and check against the stock. Basically, here it's your stock taking, but you can only have your regular stock checks if you are under perpetual inventory system. If you are under periodic inventory system, you can only check after a certain period. So basically, You can tell the business to implement the perpetual inventory system because that's the regular stock check. Okay, boys and girls, that's from my side. I hope everything was making sense. I'm hoping to see you again tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll be looking at the more complex question about FIFO, specific identification method, and weighted average method. And tomorrow and Friday we'll be looking at those. Then next week, Monday, we'll be starting with manufacturing. Have a lovely evening. Goodbye.